At losing a wicket immediately after hitting a boundary off the first ball of the over. It's a very, very good hand that from Mayeye, his best T20 score. But I think on balance we'd say that I wouldn't put too much blame down to him. I think it's a good ball from Snater. It did a bit, and that's what got him.
That's the one that Essex wanted as well. So two fresh batters at the wicket. Now Jack Leaning has come out to join Joey Everson, and Shane Snater is doing the job here for Essex at the moment. 2 for 18, 2 balls into his third over.
Yeah, he's making things happen, isn't it? And maybe just getting a little bit out of the surface as well.
Leaning to face up to Snater. Snater bowls to him, steers up one into the onside to short mid-wicket. Harmer does the fielding and then hurls the ball at the stumps when Leaning was safely home. Seemed a bit unnecessary. 127 for 4 is the score.
Yeah, I don't want to be giving away overthrows in this tight situation. Very important game this for Essex. Gloucestershire having lost surprisingly earlier at Cheltenham to Middlesex. So Essex looking to take advantage of Gloucestershire's slip up and move 2 points clear of them, so they can win this game.
Snater now into Everson. He's only faced 3 balls. Snater's into him. Everson into the onside. Will pick up a single as it wide of Harmer at short mid-wicket. 128 for 4. 60 runs required for Kent from 5.2 overs. So from 32 balls, they need 60.
Again, just the 6 runs and a wicket off this over. Essex starting to take wickets as well, which is important because that is unsettling Kent here.
Robin Das called up from the deep third boundary to the edge of the circle. The Snater comes in and bowls, and Leaning into the onside, down to long on in fact, who comes off the fence and fields and keeps it down to the single. Good piece of smart, quick fielding that out there. 129 for 4, the Kent score. 188 is the target. One more ball to come.
Yeah,
this the 15th.
Some just of late, because of the wickets, just losing a little bit of momentum here, Kent. Absolutely had Essex where they wanted them a few minutes ago.
Snater bowls to Everson. Everson off the back foot, forces that one away towards a square cover boundary and picks up 4 runs. And that's a very, very timely struck boundary by Joey Everson, and that finishes off Shane Snater's over, and the score is 133 for 4 here on BBC Essex.
So 55 from 30, and yeah, it's a very even game. Essex will certainly feel they've got restored equilibrium with the recent wickets. Simon Harmer has bowled pretty well today and has been getting a bit of turn, and it's not particularly a surprise that he's elected to bowl himself out. Say there'll be some other strong performances with the ball today as well. 133 for 4, 55 from 30, and it's going to be Harmer to come in to bowl, and that is hit firmly along the ground, probably for 2, between 2 boundary fielders for Leaning, and he comes back for a comfortable second run. Well placed, no risk in the shot, and the score goes along to 135 for 4, 53 from 29.
Another full toss from Simon
yes,
Harmer though.
A few, yeah. Harmer again, with darkness taking effect here now. Bowls a flatter one, that certainly wasn't a full toss. And just a little push into the onside, and the thought of a second run, they're going to go for it. In comes Pepper, the throw comes in, and Kent have managed to achieve what Essex were desperate to try and do through much of their innings. The little push with no pace into the onside. I don't think Essex ever got a 2, did they, Glenn? No. And Kent have managed to get one there. So 137 for 4, 51 from 28. Well placed, well judged. Harmer again, 51 from 28. Bowls from the Alistair Cook end. Another full toss, driven away down the ground for a single to long on. 5 from the over, and it's 138 for 4, and even 50 from 27.
And 5 from 3 balls of this Simon Harmer over.
Can Essex stop the boundary in this over? Harmer coming in to bowl once more. It's played off the back foot, and that's a dot ball, which is very, very useful at this stage. He has had 1 or 2 expensive analyses in the competition this season, Simon Harmer, but this has been one of his better days. Pitch just offering him a little. He comes in to bowl once again, and that's hit uppishly and not far away from Harmer, but safe and out towards Pepper at long on, and they get through for a single. Everson goes along to 7 with that run and gives a strike back to Leaning. 49 from 25. It's 139 for 4.
He pulled out of the shot, didn't he, Everson?
Yeah.
He was going to go through with that, and I think realised we'll have to do that. I'm hitting it straight down long on's throat because Harmer held the ball back slightly, so actually it was a sensible piece of batting in the end from Everson. Rossington just calls his captain down to have a quick chat with him, with one more ball to go of this over.
49 from 25. They've still got 6 wickets in hand. 139 for 4. Fired in by Harmer, and that will probably just be the one as it goes out to Pepper. A second would be very dangerous. They don't go for it. In comes a flat throw from Pepper. Good over, good analysis from Simon Harmer. 1 for 20 from his 4 overs. He has bowled out. I think Snater may well bowl out because he's been making things happen out there, but he's not going to do so immediately. It's going to be Walter. So 188 is the target, and it's going to be certainly pretty close finish here. We've got 6 wickets left, but that was another good over from Harmer, and he's had a good evening with the ball. Yeah,
he's just reeled Kent back, just held them back a little bit, that they didn't maybe want to take the risk off Harmer's bowling in trying to find that boundary. Something of Paul Walter's pace might be more to their liking. So 48 runs required from 24 legal deliveries. So there you are, 2 a ball needed.
They've just done enough, Essex, actually, just to push this rate up and create a little bit of pressure. The wickets clearly have helped.
Even my simple GCSE maths can work that out. 12 and over needed. Walter comes in and bowls to Leaning. Leaning off the back foot, cuts that one away. That's a diving stop there by Simon Harmer. They get the single. They would have got it anyway, I think. It wouldn't have gone to the boundary because there was a man covering out on the point boundary, would have got around. 141 for 4.
Yeah, he's had a good evening in the field, Harmer, and as I say, I think he's bowled pretty well this evening. Must have been a bit frustrating. He's not been quite at his best with the ball this season. It must be a bit of a source of frustration for him, but he's very much back to his best, I think, with the quality of his bowling this evening.
They're 10 runs down on the DLS now, Ken. A couple of overs.
Just need really one expensive over here for Kent, and that will do a trick for them.
Walter into Everson. Everson pulling that one into the onside. Bobbles off the under edge of the bat. There'll only be a single there as well. 142 for 4. 46 required here on BBC Essex.
Could be, but our initial thought that 187 was a pretty good score on this pitch will be borne out because it does appear to be doing a bit more now, and Paul Walter does in particular look quite difficult to get away. Now probably the next one will go out of the ground, but he has actually asked some questions, hasn't he, and been a very effective operator yet again. Number 16 in the space of 2 overs and 2 balls.
He's going to bowl to Jack Leaning here. Left arm around Paul Walter. He's into the former Yorkshire man, and Leaning heaves that one away into the onside and picks up 4 runs. And that was chancing his arm there, Jack Leaning, and he's got reward for it. 146 for 4, and he gets the boundary that Kent wanted.
Yeah, a bit of a slog, and just an indication there for Walter. Just had to be patient. It's going to be the odd 4, but he's bowling pretty well out there. And as I say, the good thing here for Simon Harmer, he's got plenty of options. He's got 2 from Sam Cook as a banker. He can effectively bowl out Walter or Snater without too many worries.
Walter into Leaning, bouncer outside off stump. Leaning gets nothing on it. It's the one for the over. Good piece of bowling. 146 for 4. 2 more balls to come of this, the 17th over.
It's not one of those situations where he doesn't know who to turn to. He knows that he's got some good options there. So it looks like Cook is going to bowl 18 and 20, one would have thought. He's going to bowl out, leaving Walter or Snater it would be, wouldn't it, for 19.
This is a tight one. Walter into Leaning, and Leaning hits that one up to mid-on, not with too much timing, and picks up a single. 147 for 4. 1 more ball to come. We've had 7 runs off this over so far. The required rate tips up to 13 now.
Yeah, it's a good enough over this for Essex. They haven't got the wicket, but again, we're seeing this pattern that Kent are just finding it a little bit more difficult since that partnership was broken. And as I say, there'll be a little bit of regret if Kent lose this match. They'll feel they had Essex absolutely where they wanted them at one point.
It's really quiet inside the Chelmsford County ground. Walter is in and bowls, and Everson drives with no timing up to long on, picks up the single. 8 runs from the over. 148 for 4. Kent require 40 runs from 3 overs. That is 40 runs from 18 legal deliveries here on BBC Essex. You can sense, you can feel people moving closer and closer to the edges of their seats here, because this is going to be a really tight finish. And as you quite rightly say, Nick, Sam Cook is going to bowl out from this Sir Alistair Cook end.
Yeah, and then Simon Harmer has got the choice really between Snater and Walter. Not much to choose between the two, I would have thought. They've both done very well. Walter's been used to bowling at the end this season, so I don't think he's got too much to worry about either way. I think I'd back Essex from here. I think they've done very well in the last few overs, but Kent's still in with a chance. The difference is they don't have somebody really in and firing in the way that Muyeye was, particularly in the second half of his innings. So 40 from 18. Everson is on strike on 9 as Cook bowls a full-length delivery, and he reaches for it and just plays it away towards deep cover, and they go for what will be a tight second run, but in the end it's fairly comfortable and actually quite well judged, because two fielders had to converge on it. I think Snater got there eventually, but they get back for the second run. Kent's 150 is up. They need 38 from 17.
Yeah, it's a good piece of running, comfortable in the end, but Cook's tactic clearly to bowl full and wide outside off stump.
And Essex is looking to stop the boundary here. Kent need a boundary in this over, at least one. Cook bowls, and that is hit in the air, safe again. One bounce out towards third man, just the one bounce to the fielder, and in the end that's not too bad from the Essex point of view. Good fielding out in the deep, just a single. They'll settle for that at this stage and increases the pressure on Kent. 37 from 16. We're on 151 for 4. The single takes Everson to 12.
Kent just looking for this one big over which will get them over the line, but Essex straining to prevent the boundaries and doing a good enough job. Sam Cook's not happy with something here.
37 from 16, so darkness has taken full effect. The lights shining brightly. The weather has held off. Little bit of a breeze. Crowd watching on, wrapped in their attention as Cook bowls, and there's an attempted ramp shot to a ball outside the off stump, but it's a dot ball.
He was stood there even before Cook had got into his delivery stride, ready to play that shot.
Well, it's starting to look, unless something goes very drastically wrong here, as though that 187 is just a little bit above par on this pitch. And Essex in the second half of the innings have actually got the ball to do a little bit more, and Kent have found it difficult. 37 from 15. Here is Cook again. Bowls, and that's driven away, but right up the cover, and it's a crowd catch. In fact, yes, God, I thought it was a crowd catch, but it's actually been taken by Christie. I thought it was a bump ball, but no, it's been taken cleanly, and he's on his way. So that's leading gone for 14, and now Kent really up against it, and Cook has done his job. He's returned to the side, and well, he's really produced a very, very good over, showed all his experience, and Essex just in these last few overs have done a thoroughly professional job and made their score look the good score it is on this surface. And now Kent an awful lot to do. 151 for 5, still 37. I think it's just the 14 balls to go now. That was a strange one, because I thought it was a bump ball, but no, cleanly taken, and away goes the batter.
Yeah, it looked like a bump ball initially.
Yeah,
I thought, why are they celebrating? But yeah, come off the toe end of the bat rather than into the ground. But that's the wicket, and well, the best way to stem run scoring is to take wickets. Brings Harry Finch to the wicket.
Useful players had a bit of form in this competition. Is it a little bit too late? And is the quality of the bowling a little bit too good on this surface?
37 for 14 balls needed.
151 for 5. Finch looking round. This is probably Kent's last big hope. They've got Everson at the other end, but he's only going to run a ball. He's just struggling a little bit. Here's Cook bowling a full-length delivery, and it's driven straight back to the bowler along the ground, who fields cleanly. What a top over this has been. And having the class of Sam Cook back is a very, very good thing indeed from the Essex point of view. Who knows, will he play a test match this summer? But Essex certainly very, very grateful to have him back in their side. They've missed him in this competition. He could be the difference in the last few group games, and indeed in the knockout stages should they get there. Here's Cook, last ball of a great over. It's a bad full toss, and it's very well stopped at cover, and they get a single. That was the worst ball Cook has bowled. It was almost so high, but it actually could have been called a no ball. It was driven with full expectation by Finch. He was going to get 4, but it was brilliantly stopped in the covers. And in the end, that's a superb over from Cook. 3 overs, 1 for 18, and it's 152 for 5, and it's 36 from 12, and Essex should win from here.
Yeah, wonderful piece of fielding that by Matt Critchley, who took a catch a couple of balls previous to that one and then just took off away to his right-hand side, and he got a round of applause from his bowler, who just stood there and applauded him for that piece of fielding, and several of the Essex fielders come across and slap him on the back for that fantastic piece of fielding. He's just stooped away to his right-hand side, really top over that from Sam Cook, and the game is there for Essex now to get over the line, failing any kind of massive breakdown from either of the bowlers or something spectacular from the remaining Kent batters. They need 36 from 12 balls. Paul Walter is on, wide of off stump. Finch steps outside leg stump, so has to reach for it, and will pick up no more than the single there. 153 for 5. You've been with us since ball 1 here on BBC Essex. Essex did really well in the end to get up to 187, and we thought that was about par, and for a long period of this innings it looked like Kent were going to get there with no problems at all. Yeah,
it looked a good score. We thought 180 plus with a decent score on this, and that's been borne out. But Essex have bowled well. Remember, they're still without Sams, but just having Cook back, think about this game in the context of 1 or 2 of the others, like the game at Cardiff. What a difference that has made.
Walter to Everson. Everson, gets nothing on it, and it flies through to Rossington, and there is no run, and the Chelmsford crowd just beginning to sit a little bit easier now, and just finding their voices a little bit more now, because it went very, very quiet at one point.
I wonder who the Essex player of the match is. I've written about 6 or 7 contenders. Nobody absolutely out clear.
Well, at the moment, I might look towards Sam Cook or Simon Harmer just for the bowling.
Yeah, I think so. It often goes to a batter, doesn't it?
Walter comes in and bowls, and that's swung away behind square on the onside by Everson, but they'll only pick up the single again.
But just having Cook back has made a difference here, and of course, Essex did have Cook and Sams at the. You think about that campaign last year, but. Obviously, Cook's injury and Sam's subsequent injury, that hasn't been borne out, but they just look different having one of those 2 back.
154 for 5, 9 balls to go. Walter is in, and Finch again trying to give that absolutely everything. Loses his balance, but will come through for a couple of runs. Their leg buys 156 for 5, 2 more balls to go of this, the penultimate over.
And the other thing is, a sort of byproduct of that, Glenn, is that let's allow Paul Walter a more senior role as a bowler in the side, which he's really taken advantage of it. I mean, if you like, the first indication of his qualities was really, I guess, when he was drafted into that 100 Manchester Originals, wasn't it? When he was going to play in the 50 over competition. And he took advantage of it.
Walter to Finch. Finch heaves that one up to long on. Only be the single there as well. 1 more ball to go of this, the penultimate over. 7 balls to go. 157 for 5. Another 31 runs required for Kent to steal back over the crossing with a victory.
Yeah, they've closed this game down brilliantly, Essex, because they were struggling at one point. Obviously the expensive Bosch over, but they carried on from that, didn't they? They kept the momentum going, and I think Kent will be a bit rueful when they look back.
Walter to finish off then, in and bowl. Short delivery is spooned up in the air by Everson, and the catch is not taken, and it's tipped away by the fielder, and has that been hauled in inside the rope?
It has. They probably went about 5 by
now. And they have run in the end.
They must have run 3 at least.
Well, I think they've run 4 there, because Everson is back on strike.
It is. Yeah, it looked like one of those plays.
It's a run 4. The catch was disappearing over the shoulder of the fielder as he ran back. He then tipped it towards the rope, hauled it back in, by which time the fielders had run 3. They then took 1 for the throw as well, so 161 for 5. So Kent required 27 runs from this final over, which is going to be bowled by the returning Sam Cook.
Yes, that was one of those where sort of everything was frozen in time, while Essex, one way or another, retrieved the ball from the distant boundary there in front of the executive boxes, while the batters were happily running between the wickets, and in the end they got through for the all-run 4. So here we go, 27 from 6. It should be straightforward this for Essex, as Cook bowls an attempted ram shot and a play and a miss. Attempt to throw the stumps down from Rossington. He misses, but Cook hits, but it's not out. So Rossington looked to throw down the stumps at his end. It missed, got through to Cook. He then did throw down the stumps, but Finch was in. But I think it's all going to be to no great relevance. 26 off 5. There's no way that Cook's going to go for that many in this over. 162 for 5. He's been exemplary on his return. 3 overs and 1 ball, 1 for 18. So 1 extra to the total there. 161 for 5. A target 188. As Cook comes into bowl again, it's well pitched up, driven along the ground, block hole ball, super delivery, up to Pepper at long on. Just exactly what Essex want. And becoming academic now, but 25 from 4 balls, so it's gone beyond the point where Kent can do it without no balls and wides. And what a good comeback this has been from Essex. We mentioned that they were really, after a deceptively quiet start from Kent absolutely exploded for a while, but they'll look back with a bit of disappointment. This is hit in along the ground and pretty well actually out towards deep backward point, but a good piece of fielding stops the second run.
Yeah, and that's the game for Essex, failing no balls and wides here. Sam Cook applauds that piece of fielding out in the deep as well, because he feels, that's enough now. I'm certainly not going to be bowling no balls and wides and giving boundaries away in the closing stages here. And in the end, I think the term you use, Nick, is spot on. In the end, Essex have shut this game down and done a very good job.
Brilliant. They've done an extraordinarily effective job at doing it, actually. As I say, it doesn't half help having Cook back. 24 from 3, and this is just a good slower ball, which Everson knows little about. And to be poor old Everson, he's rather struggled out there. 18 off 15 balls. He hasn't really seriously laid a bat on it too often. And Finch, who does, he equally hasn't had a chance to get going. And as I say, I reckon Kent have got to look back as the O'Riordan dismissal.
They're not used to winning, I think.
They're not used to winning. They've showed that a little bit. They absolutely where they wanted them. And O'Riordan's dismissal in the 11th over at 95 was critical, as this is hit along the ground, goes out towards deep mid wicket. Another single, doesn't matter now. 23 to win off the last ball, which will be bowled by Sam Cook. It means that his figures are more or less identical to Simon Harmer's, who took 1 for 20, and Cook is there on 1 for 21.
Two of the big favourites for Essex, aren't they, Harmer and Cook? So it's an interesting for those people judging the man of the match this evening.
Yeah, it's and of course it might even be Shane Snater, who you could say made a difference in the middle of the innings. Here's a good slower ball to end, and Cook punches the air in delight. That is a big win from a perilous position at one point, because, as we mentioned, there was a stage in that innings where O'Riordan and Mayeye were threatening all kinds of chaos from the Essex point of view, but it was that dismissal of O'Riordan at the halfway point where Kent actually got halfway to their target as well. That dismissal with the score at 95 at the start of the 11th over, and it was Shane Snater, the caught and bowled, and from that point on, although Mayeye went on to a fine 73, a career best in the competition for 49 balls, Kent were never quite the same, Glenn, and the presence of Sam Cook back in the side did make a difference, and I think we were probably just about justified in thinking that 180 plus would be a decent score on this pitch, and I think that's turned out to be the case. Yeah,
they got really worrying, didn't it, in the middle of that innings. I mean, there were 3 overs went by in the power play where Kent couldn't lay a bat on anything. They then lost Daniel Bell-Drummond, but then they took Ethan Bosch apart in his second over after he'd taken the first wicket, and Mayeye just went crazy for a period where Kent looked as though they were going to take the game away from Essex, but Essex hauled it back in, shut it down, and the reaction from Cook and Critchley in particular, and the captain Simon Harmer, tells you how they feel. They've pulled that one out of the fire, and how important that win is.
And it puts them up into 3rd place for the time being, with Surrey on 16. Obviously, a lot of these sides are going to play over the weekend. Sussex won last night on 14. Essex are third on 13 points with 3 to play, and then we've got Somerset there on 11 with 4 to play, and Gloucestershire, who lost today against Middlesex. It's been a very good day all round for Essex. Both the results have gone the way they wanted. They have got 11 points with 3 to play, and Glamorgan still in contention just about with 9 and 4 to play. But yeah, but the return of Cook made a difference. It was a good team batting performance without the outstanding innings, wasn't it, for Essex? But the score looked good on a pitch which offered quite a lot. It was just a bit odd. There was that period in the Kent innings where it seemed to go to sleep a little bit, but then Essex started to get things to happen, and it was actually Shane Snater's spell, I think, that made the difference, and eventually the pressure was increased on.
Nick, thanks very much for your company this evening. Thanks to you for listening as well. Don't forget, we're back here for an afternoon game, importantly, an afternoon game against Surrey, and then next Friday off back down to Hampshire. But then, by then, we hope Essex might have got the job done. They're almost Ben Speller from Nick Gledhill and a scorer, David Jackman. A very good evening to you.
Oh, right. Can we go down and see if I can I never thought they'd do that. Well, yeah, they were struggling for a while there, weren't they?
Thanks, James. Appreciate your help this evening, and I'll sort out the interview, and you get yourself off home. Oh, lucky you. Okay. No worries at all. I will speak to you in the very near future. Cheers, James. Take it easy. Thanks. Bye, bye.
Go down and get someone if you like.
I'll do it straight away, Nick. Yeah.
Then I'll head off. If that's okay. Are you able to take the kit back and then? Yeah, a good game in the end, wasn't it? I thought they did really well, but I thought at one point it was we read it wrong, thinking I think you were right on that.
So, what a tight contest that was, but the Eagles fly and soar once again, and we have our Woodland Group Eagle of the match, and it is none other than Mr. Shane Snater. Snates, 2 very important wickets and a big catch. It was at a critical time when O'Riordan and Muyai were really seeming to pull away.
Yeah, for sure. I think they got off to a decent start. I mean, yeah, it was obviously nice to contribute with the ball and take my catch. So yeah, I'm just happy we were walking away with the result.
The confidence in getting that result is so important, isn't it? Because we've got such a big weekend coming up at Hove and then back here at Chelmsford.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're at the crunch time of the competition, and I think looking forward, every game for us would be a must-win. So yeah, it will put us in a good place.
And a few new ingredients in the Essex bowling attack with Mr. Bosch in there, and of course Sam Cook back in the fold.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously great to be bowling alongside them, and I think just all round it was a good team performance.
Right, well, let's invite the Woodland Group guys to come in. I'm going to get out your way and make the presentation. And Snates, we've got one other presentation we'd like you to make to our Woodland Group Young Eagle of the match. This is Charlotte. Charlotte, come and meet Shane. Just present her with the shirt, if you would. And I'm sure Shane will put his autograph on that as well. Sorry, not enough hands. So congratulations, Charlotte, our Woodland Group Young Eagle of the day. Congratulations to Snates, our Woodland Group Player of the match. Well done, Snates. Go well at the weekend. All sets up really well. Don't forget, Sunday's game, the last home game in the Vitality Blast, is a 2:30 start. We've got the Surrey boys, the Brown Caps here, they're top of the log at the moment. So all to play for after we play, of course, against Sussex at Hove on the Saturday. Thank you for your support. We look forward to seeing you back here at the Cloud County Ground for a 2:30 start on Sunday. Good night.